Welcome to the BIP Ventures Extraordinary Pursuits podcast, a fascinating and inspiring journey into the world of venture capital and startups. Each episode offers masterclasses and entrepreneurial stories from some of the top minds in the innovation economy. Get ready to unlock new ideas and gain valuable advice for how to thrive as an innovator and an investor. Today on Extraordinary Pursuits, we talk with Greg Reffner, the founder and CEO of Abstrakt, a call center platform that guides agents in real time. Greg has spent years helping to solve a major challenge for call center supervisors. They're often constrained to being reactive when it comes to compliance and QA. Abstrakt is solving that problem. The platform eliminates subjectivity and automates QA on every call to directly improve business outcomes. Abstrakt has been part of the BIP Ventures portfolio since winning the Startup Showdown pitch competition in 2022. And under Greg's leadership, Abstrakt has grown to become a prominent player in the real-time agent assist and QA automation market. In today's episode, he shares what the company has learned along the way. As a highly innovative, sector-disruptive AI platform, finding and keeping product market fit has been key to their ability to gain traction in the market and to scale. This is an episode for every startup working to connect with and to retain their most important audience members by understanding and meeting their most important needs. Greg talks a lot about listening and leadership and being willing to flex where and when necessary to continue to solve the needs of markets as they emerge. So let's get started. So, you've mentioned that the biggest evolution that Abstrakt has undertaken, really since launch, but particularly since 2022, is refining this ideal customer profile. We know that that is absolutely a critical success factor for early stage and, scale stage startups. And we also know that it's particularly challenging, especially for disruption companies, like Abstrakt. I looked at a little bit of research prior to this conversation, and one of the statistics that came up that I thought was really fascinating is that 34% of startups will fail because of a lack of product market fit. So it sounds like you are definitely not in that group of 34%, and I am so glad for
Hopefully
that.
not.
But I'd love to spend a little bit of time talking with you about product market fit, and having you share, how Abstrakt first built its product market fit, but then more importantly, how you have evolved it over the last 4.5 years.
Yeah, so first things first, I can't take credit for the decision to go and kind of change who we wanted to go after, Rachelle. It was a very much a team decision. We all kind of sat around for a couple days and went through a full exercise. But ultimately, as I mentioned earlier, I had this thesis that I wanted to go after a B2B sales team. And so we were winning B2B, SDR, BDR sales teams pretty easily. They would instantly get it, they would see it. Then we would get the implementation that would fall on its face. And I'll explain why here in a second.
Mm-hmm.
While we're kind of square peg, round hole, pounding our head against the wall, trying to figure out why we can't get adoption at the end user level, but we can get buy-in at the executive leadership level, we're getting inbound demo requests from insurance companies, from financial services, debt collection companies, from utility companies. And we're literally hitting delete on those notifications. We're deleting them from our HubSpot account because we don't want to be charged and go up to a paid tier. We want to stay at the free tier. And so one day, Claire, our VP of marketing, is like, we should look at this. Like, why are we ignoring this? And I was like, because that's not our ICP. Like, we don't want to sell those people. And so finally we sold one company, Johnson & Johnson Insurance. And we were like, let's just try this out. Let's see what happens. Within a month, they were live. Within 6 weeks, they had upsold. Within 2 months, they were a case study. And we're like, okay, there's something here. Like they got live, they are adding users, they're raving fans. 20 other companies over here are struggling. Why? What makes these guys so different?
Mm-hmm.
And we went through a full exercise where we went through all the pros and cons and the use cases and the language this one customer was using to describe the product versus all these other customers over here. And it really came down to this one customer over here had to say certain things on the phone in a certain way. These 20 customers over here did not have to say things in a certain way. One customer over here, their only form of communication was the phone. This cohort of customers over here wanted nothing to do with the phone. They wanted to be on LinkedIn. They wanted to send emails. And if needed, they wanted to pick up the phone. Third thing, which was the crazy part, Rachelle, PCs were being used at Johnson & Johnson. Macs were being used at all these B2B sales teams.
Huh.
Due to some hardware limitations on a Mac, there's one extra click a user needs to make in order to use Abstract on a Mac versus a PC. And that one extra click ultimately was the deciding factor between whether the Mac and B2B sales team users were going to use the product versus a PC call center B2C support sales setup. And so there was like 100 different things on this list of kind of comparing and contrasting the two, but compliance has to be said versus optional. Phone is the only medium of communication. And then 3, the hardware being used.
That is absolutely fascinating to me. So there are a couple of things about the story that you just told that I'd love to press on for just a second. And the first is, this idea that the B2B, sales rep was your ICP. What had you done as you were starting the company to develop that ideal client profile and be so sure that that was who it was going to be? Was it your own personal experience, or was there another exercise that you had done that helped you to sort of identify that profile?
I mean, so a lot of it was personal experience, but I knew a lot of VPs of sales who were struggling with the same thing.
Okay.
I saw Gong, I saw Outreach, I saw Chorus, I saw them all trying to get into the real-time space and failing. So there was a kind of a grouping of different things that were happening at the time. But ultimately it really was like, I spent so many hours on Saturdays reviewing call recordings myself and listening to my team make the same mistakes over and over again. I knew that there was pain there. And I knew that there were, 75 other thousand sales leaders just like me that if they weren't going through the same pain, then they were really poor sales leaders and they needed to be fired anyways.
Thanks for listening to the BIP Ventures Extraordinary Pursuits podcast. Check the show notes on our blog for the resources we discussed. You can find Extraordinary Pursuits on your favorite audio platform. Be sure to subscribe to the BIP Ventures YouTube channel and connect with us on LinkedIn, X, and Instagram so you get all the stories, learnings, and ideas for ways to thrive in the innovation economy. And if you liked this episode, be generous. Share it.